Hi, and welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast, co-hosted by Abby Fearing, the Badass Breastfeeder, and Dianne Cassidy, IBCLC.
Our newer sponsor is Teamy Blends. Teamy is a health and lifestyle company that creates products to help their customers solve everyday problems like bloating, low energy, and trouble sleeping. Their newest tea, Teamy Nursing, was formulated to help increase milk flow for breastfeeding moms. As a mom and advocate myself, I know this is a common concern. Go to teamyblends.com, that's TEAMIBLENDS.com, and use code Badass Breastfeeder at checkout to get 15% off your order. That's teamyblends.com, code Badass Breastfeeder. This week's episode is brought to you by Peekaboob. Peekaboob makes affordable, stylish, and functional breastfeeding apparel that you'll want to wear long after your nursing journey ends. The secret is hidden zippers and snaps that make breastfeeding and pumping easier and more discreet, if that's your thing. And just for you badasses, Peekaboob has curated some of their newest and favorite items. Head to peekaboob.shop/badass and get 20% off your purchase with code BADASS, along with free shipping anywhere in the U.S. You can also head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com for the link.
Welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And this is Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder.
And we are going to talk today about cavities and breastfeeding.
Oh, my God.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is such a, I know, this is, so if we had to do, one of those episodes called, that really grinds my gears.
Oh, God.
This would be, my top 5. It would be my top 5.
But first, we are going to read our review of the week before we get carried away with the cavities. So, because we will. Because we'll get on a tangent, and then that'll be the end of it. So, this is from, I love these names, Hacko Jackie. These women talk the truth of motherhood. They talk about the ups and downs. I really connected with episode 7. I struggle with taking care of myself, and these ladies talk about the truth and needing that time. Thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Aww, that's so awesome.
I know, that really is awesome. And yeah, episode 7 was self-care. Yeah, everybody needs that.
Yeah, check it out. Episode 7, self-care. It's not as easy as everyone makes it out to be.
No, not even a little bit.
No. Okay, cavities.
All right, so what brought us onto this? Was there something recently?
Well, I hear this all the time. Whenever I post about this stuff, it's one of those ones that everyone kind of starts arguing about. And this is something that is apparently going on in dentist offices across the country.
Still?
Where, I hear it all the time. Almost on the daily. People are like, so, can you tell me how to night wean because I don't want my baby's teeth to rot out? Or, I went to the dentist, my dentist told me to stop breastfeeding because my baby's teeth are going to rot out. Okay, stop the madness.
Oh, my God.
And I want to say this actually a couple of times in this episode because it is so awesome. Do you know who Dr. Jay Gordon is, I'm sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, he's a pediatrician who is very outspoken about breastfeeding, and he's, awesome. And I saw him speak at a conference, and he said words that resonate with me for the rest of my life. Quote, "We would be a dead branch on the evolutionary tree if human milk rotted human teeth."
Right? Oh,
Hello.
my God.
Yeah, let's use common sense first before we get into the science, because we will get into the science. But let's use common sense first of all. Why would nature create this amazing milk to nourish your baby and also make it so that it rots their teeth out?
Right. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any physical sense. And it doesn't make any evolutionary sense.
No.
If that was how it worked, we would be gone. We'd be like one of those branches, you see on there, it was like, well, that animal just did not work out.
There was a study that I saw, or read about, actually, done by a dentist named Brian Palmer and another researcher, too, where they actually looked at the skulls of humans from, the year 500 to 1,000.
Oh, my God.
And obviously those babies were breastfed for a very long period of time, and they did not have tooth decay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, come on.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, tooth decay is a problem, and it's certainly here. But
right. But it's not caused by your breast milk.
No, and it's not even, I mean, like in babies, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was called bottle rot.
Right. And they still call it that sometimes.
They still right. That, yeah. Like you have to, your baby is suffering from bottle rot. No, he's not bottle fed. No, that's just what it's called. No.
No.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
In order for, and so for the first like little bit of science we can share is breast milk doesn't pool in your baby's mouth.
I was just going to say that. Exactly.
Breast milk doesn't come out of your breast unless your baby is sucking and swallowing. Mm-hmm. That is different from bottle feeding where milk will leak out and it will pool in your baby's mouth.
And if they're sucking and swallowing, it's not pooling in their mouth.
It's not pooling.
Not
it's not
sitting
there.
behind their teeth.
No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
And so, and I saw a study where I was just looking where, and then we're talking, so somebody bottle feeds breast milk and it is pooling in their mouth. There are studies that show that breast milk reacts to the teeth the same way water does.
Mm-hmm.
Which means not. Which means not reacting.
And one of the things that I saw, which I thought was interesting, was that they looked at, breast milk and teeth, but they didn't look at all the other components that are in breast milk and how that reacts.
Right.
So it's like,
and by the time your baby is, and solid foods.
Right.
The other thing that's in the breast milk is if you have a baby who's, after you start, that there's like food in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and if that's pooling in the mouth, then certainly that can cause decay.
But tooth decay can be caused by a variety of things that has nothing to do with breastfeeding. Right. And babies that get tooth decay, it does not necessarily mean that they're getting it because they're a breastfed baby. That's not why.
Right. I mean, Jack and Exley both have tooth decay, and Jack has it pretty bad. I mean, he's older, but Exley has a big cavity in his teeth now, and I can see it. And our dentist, the first dentist we went to, was like, you have to be careful with breastfeeding, and this is what they say. This is what they hear in medical school. And so, oh my God, there's so many things I have to say. So there's like, because they go to, these dentists go to medical school and they hear this stuff that's been regurgitated for the past 100 years or whenever the medical curriculum was written, which was a really long time ago, and it really doesn't get updated.
No.
And so they're being told this, and they all say it the same way too, which is not really coming from experience. It's coming from they heard it, and they say you have to be careful with breast milk because it's got a lot of sugar in it, and it's gonna rots the teeth. Like so breastfeeding and having a Kit Kat are the same thing.
Right.
Like we're not even talking. Like you can't just say the word sugar and then it's like no, that's not the same kind of sugar.
No, it's not. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and so they both have tooth decay, and I have a lot of tooth decay, and I had it when I was a kid. And my husband has none. My husband has 0 cavities. He's never had a cavity filled in his life, and I can't stand him for it. But because I've had a ton. I mean, like my dentist will be like, this tooth, like I can't really do anything more with it because it's not really there anymore.
Oh my God.
You're just gonna have to get a cap because I can't drill in it anymore. I'm like,
go eat a Kit Kat.
And this is right. This is genetic.
Yeah, it is.
And tooth decay is mostly genetic. So look at, if you're looking at, if you want to know about tooth decay, just look at yourselves and your parents, and this is the best indicator of where tooth decay is coming. I mean, obviously, there's more reasons for it, which I don't know, but that's the greatest indicator.
Right. And a lot of it is the bacteria that you're carrying that you're passing on to your child and, stuff like that. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's so funny because, like, my kid's father, it's exactly the opposite. Like, I'm the one with the really good teeth, and he is not. Mm-hmm. And now...
Whose teeth did they get?
Well, so far the twins are pretty good. Like, Jessica and Brandon, neither one of them have cavities. But Nathan does. And I have been on them because I'm terrified. Like, and honestly, I got my first cavity like a year ago. And I was so traumatized, I had to go home and take a nap. Like, I was so traumatized. I was like, and I remember even the dentist, like...
Most people are like, I was so traumatized, I need to see a therapist. No. I was so traumatized, I needed to really process with my husband. Like, Diane needed to go home and take a nap.
I was so traumatized. It was awful. It was
she was
awful.
super traumatized. She was not okay. She had to nap. She needed a siesta.
And, like, for me to even say this on our podcast is, like, a big deal because I have not told anybody. Like, I was that embarrassed about it. Because my sister hasn't had a cavity ever either, unless she's hiding it from me that she got one later in life. Because none of us did. But they told me, and I was like, you have to be wrong. You've got to be wrong about that. There's no way I can have a cavity. And he was like, yeah, you do. And then he's like putting my chair back to start the numbing and everything. And I'm like, wait, I'm not ready.
I know, that's scary. That is really scary.
I was like,
and then your legs go slightly higher than your head. You're like, oh my God.
I know. I was freaking out.
I've been in that position 150 times.
Man. And then then I'm like, oh, my mouth is numb and I have Novocaine. I got to go home and nap. It was crazy. I was like,
I don't feel sorry for you. I've been going through that since I was like 4.
I know. I was
over and over again. But it's horrible.
My son, my oldest one, like I have been telling them since they have had teeth. Like, your father has horrible teeth. His mother has bad teeth. Everybody, you have to brush your teeth. You have to take care of your teeth. They're so important to you.
Yeah, I mean, once you start putting those solid foods and that stuff in your mouth, you have to brush your teeth. You have to clean it off.
Yeah.
But if you're breastfeeding and you're breastfeeding at night, and this is the other thing that people that's going around is that it's the night breastfeeding.
Right.
Because somehow it's magically worse at night. I don't even understand.
I know.
Like, I don't get it. It's like, oh my God, we have to stop breastfeeding at night. Why? Like, why is that different than the day?
Right.
I don't understand. Like, that's another thing. Is like, let's just think about this for a minute. That doesn't make any sense. And then people are like, oh, you have to brush their teeth after every feeding throughout the night. Oh my God.
Who would do that?
That is so not reasonable.
I don't even tell people to change a diaper half the time.
I know. Well, this is what dentists, that's what they say. I just brought my son to the dentist, and he was like, because he's got this cavity that we're trying to, I'm trying to not have him get it filled. I'm like, because it's like, God, these are your baby teeth. Okay?
Yeah.
Just fall out already. So, we're trying to just, delay. And he was like, okay, well, you have to brush your teeth. You have to brush your teeth. You have to brush your teeth. And Jack's like, how many times? And he's like, every time you eat, you have to brush your teeth. And I was just looking at him trying to, give him a side eye, like, no, we're not doing that. Like, don't worry. Because Jack was like, what? He's like, huh? I was like, don't. Well, twice a day we'll deal with that.
Oh my God.
But I have this on my blog, this wonderful local in Chicago dentist. Her name is Kristen Solomon. She wrote a blog post for my blog, and it's called "Is Your Dentist a Breastfeeding Bully?" And it's really awesome. She goes through all of the common concerns. Breastfeeding is causing your child's cavities. You can't breastfeed on demand at night. So you need to brush your child's teeth after every feeding. And she just she cites articles that kind of debunk all of these myths. And she, it's great. I mean, there's so much information out there about this.
And from very reputable sources.
Absolutely.
You can find
that have actually done studies,
right.
Not just people regurgitating information that they heard once. And so I think that's we could step back for a minute and say, again, this is stuff that's coming from a really long time ago, and along the lines with all the other stuff that your breast milk doesn't have enough, whatever nutrients in it, so you have to supplement with formula, and all of these things that were coming from kind of like a corporate interests, because corporations have a lot of input in medical curriculum.
Yes.
And they, all this stuff was coming out around the time when formula was being really pushed on people, and breastfeeding was, being pushed out. Breastfeeding was, nearly eradicated. And there's all this information out there that was really trying to deter people from breastfeeding so that they would choose formula. And there's so much of that stuff that's left over from that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I say it like it's a distant past because that stuff still happens. But we have a lot of information now that we can counter with that. But it's not. But when you go to the dentist or any kind of medical professional, and this is what they're telling you. And so then it's very confusing. So
I am looking right now, and this is one of the things that I was reading about. The mouthhealthy.org is a website brought to you by the American Dental Association, which has a whole little thing about breastfeeding, and it actually says breastfeeding reduces the risk for baby bottle tooth decay, and that you do not have to wean your baby and blah, 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 blah. And, of course, it does say, yes, breastfed babies can still get cavities. But we know that. Like, that's not, but they are not saying, even the American Dental Association is not behind that. That's my whole point. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You don't have to wean when your baby gets teeth. You know, they have better teeth when they're breastfed. So it's really, it's one of those things where it's like we tell moms, yes, you know, breastfeeding is so great, and it's great for all these, you know, reasons, and it does all these amazing things for your child, and they have better teeth and better, you know, mouth development and, you know, all this stuff. And then we're like, oh, but you better wean when they have teeth because they're going to get cavities. Like you said earlier, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, there is
really this, like, it's like there's such a push to breastfeed, and then there's all of this, like, all this information out there that, like I said, I mean, I really think it's just left over from this time where people were trying to, you know, push other things.
Right.
And it's like, you know, there's so much fear around breastfeeding destroying our children.
I know.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
You know, and you really don't think about it like that until you put it into this kind of perspective. Yeah. You know, because even sometimes when we sit here talking about certain topics, it's like logically I know, and I don't know if it's just because I've been doing this so long that I just like block out the ignorance, but I'm sitting here going, yeah, that is really dumb. Like, why is anybody even listening to that? And how can this come out of the mouths of people that are intelligent or supposedly intelligent?
Right, but you've been educated. You have been educated, and you know the information and now, and so you know to look at it that way. But people don't, you know, other people that have never been confronted with this information, they just think that's just what it is. Yeah. I mean, you have a medical professional who's telling you it. Of course it's right. Why would my doctor tell me something that's wrong?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's really confusing for people. And I think, you know, and one of the things here, you know, that I think that we should all remember is that these medical professionals work for us. You know, and we, you know, if you are going to a dentist who is telling you, well, you just need to, well, there's two sides of this. You know, you need to wean your child's cavity, you're causing cavities in your child's mouth. You don't have to stand for that. Ask around for recommendations of a breastfeeding friendly dentist.
Right.
You know, you know, find somebody else. The other side is mind your own business. You are a medical professional. You went to school to fix teeth. Fix my child's teeth.
Right.
You know, this is the situation at hand. You know, there's cavities, there's decay. It's not really all that necessary to argue about where it came from. It's here. How are we going to deal with it? You know, do your job as a medical professional and fix it.
And now,
and you know, we have like candy coming out the wazoo in this country, and dentists are like, you know, don't eat too much candy. You know, but we do.
We do, exactly.
We do, and when I get cavities from it, fix them. That's all you got to do. That's why I'm paying you.
Exactly, yes. And now, a word from our sponsor.
This week's episode is brought to you by Peekaboob. Katie says, I love this shirt. Super cute and super functional. My sister-in-law, who is not nursing, even borrowed it because she loved it so much. Good thing that I can wear it long after I stop nursing. Fast delivery, too. So badasses, head to peekaboob.shop/badass and get 20% off your purchase with promo code BADASS, along with free shipping anywhere in the U.S. You can also head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com for the link. Today's episode is brought to you by Teamy Blends. Teamy Nursing Tea contains 3 main ingredients, fennel seed, fenugreek, and raspberry leaf. Teamy specially sources their 100% natural ingredients. It's vegan and gluten-free. All you do is drink 1 to 3 cups throughout the day. Moms are raving already. If you're looking for an all-natural lactation tea, check out Teamy Blends. Go to teamyblends.com, that's TEAMIBLENDS.com, and use code Badass Breastfeeder at checkout to get 15% off your order. That's teamyblends.com, code Badass Breastfeeder.
So it's so funny that you bring that up, though, about the whole, they work for us. Because I was saying that to somebody just the other day. We were sitting in one of my breastfeeding groups, and, we brought that up. And I was telling them that you always say that. You always say, doctors work for you. Yeah. And it's funny because one of the girls that, she's a doula that, I do a lot with, and she just had another baby. So she's like, I'm under the impression that if I bring my doctor to the pediatrician, that I'm getting medical advice, not parenting advice. She's like, since when do they give you parenting advice? Like, she always puts that out there,
Oh, that is so perfect.
And it's a really good point. She's like, why are they talking to you about how you parent? That shouldn't be...
No, that has nothing to do with it. When you go to any kind of doctor, their job is to take their knowledge and to share it with you so that you can make informed decisions about your life, whatever. Right. Their job is to address the medical situation. Not to get into, what are you doing? What do you do? It doesn't matter. We're here. This is a situation. Address it.
Right. We don't need your opinion on it. And it's just frustrating.
So the basic line, if you haven't caught on yet, we're telling you, the point is, breastfeeding and breastfeeding at night does not cause cavities. That is not what is causing the decay in your child's teeth.
Right.
It is not necessary to wean. It is not necessary to brush your child's teeth after every time they feed. I mean... it's great to have clean teeth, but let's be reasonable.
Right.
And that's not happening. Nobody is going to do that, and you don't have to do that. Once your child has teeth, brush them. Brush the food off like you normally would, like you do.
Right. Like you would normally brush your teeth. That's what you're modeling that for your child. You're teaching your child that. And if it's a situation where, because it could be that you're bringing your child to the dentist for the very first time, because they don't really even go until they're like 1 or 2.
Right.
And it could be that, there is no decay, but the dentist says, oh, by the way, you should probably wean if you are still breastfeeding, because it could cause tooth decay. I mean, look at your family history, look at your partner's family history, take some consideration into how you're taking care of your child's teeth. Don't just automatically, because that you plant that seed, and there are some families out there, some moms and mamas that'll be like, oh my God, now I have to wean because my kid's going to get tooth decay. And if they get one cavity, they're going to, in their mind, think that they caused that.
Yeah, right.
And it's wrong. It's not going to be the cause of your child's cavities.
No, and breast milk does not work that way. Mm-mm. And I think it's interesting that they're like, oh, you should wean and then depend more on formula and solid foods, which actually does cause cavities.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, because you're going to brush that off their teeth, too. So.
Right. Just brush the teeth.
Brush their teeth and take them to regular dentist appointments and, just do what you're supposed to do. A lot of this is kind of out of your hands. You can do as much as you can do, but some of it is genetic.
Because so much of it is genetics. I know. That is exactly how I feel about it. Yeah. I mean, so much of it is it's right. It's true. It's out of your hands. You're cleaning their teeth. You're doing the best they can. If the decay shows up, it's because it was going to show up.
Right.
It does.
So don't blame yourselves, mamas.
Don't blame yourself.
No.
And like Dr. Jay Gordon said, we would be a dead branch on the evolutionary tree if human milk rotted human teeth. I mean, how awesome is that? I love that.
Oh my God.
I want to say it a million times.
It's so ridiculous when you really think about it. It is so ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But this is one of those things where it is really easy to find information. So if you want to arm yourself with information when you go to the dentist, because they've already kind of planted that seed that that's what they say to you, it is really easy to get that information.
It is. And I like that idea of bringing that stuff to the dentist. But honestly, you don't have to waste your time with that. Mm-mm. You don't have to go in preparing a lecture for your dentist so that you can, argue with them. I mean, if you want to, cool, because they need to be educated. But how seriously are they going to take you if they've been doing, if they've been taking care of people's teeth for 40 years and went to medical school? They think they're right. And like you said before, find somebody else and just fix my teeth. Yeah. I didn't come here for advice about the way I choose to live my life.
So, Doc, tell me, should I go out tomorrow night or should I stay in and, watch Netflix?
Yeah, well, then they'd be like, well, don't drink any alcohol because you can't breastfeed with that either. It's all just so wrong. And it's all of this stuff. I mean, honestly, breastfeeding is the way that humans were designed to feed. So if you're hearing some sort of information that says to you that you should stop breastfeeding, it's probably wrong.
I agree with that. I mean,
because this is how we were designed to eat and to feed infants. Yeah. So if there's this big thing where it's like, oh no, I have to wean, that information is probably wrong.
Yeah, there's no reason to wean. Especially
unless you want to.
Right,
if you want a night wean because you're going nutso, that's different.
Yeah. But don't use it as like an excuse to wean either.
Right, because it's not you're not doing any harm. And like we can do a whole other episode about nighttime breastfeeding and like getting through that and dealing with the hardships of that. But the breastfeeding at night, because that's the most common one, is the breastfeeding at night is rotting your baby's teeth, which again is like so. Breastfeeding during the day is fine, but the breast milk at night is like turns into poison.
So what is the theory behind that they're laying down? Like, how many people?
I think it's because, I think it's the whole pooling in the mouth thing. Like, they're sleeping, and so therefore it's pooling in the mouth and sitting there.
Yeah, well, your baby is feeding laying down from, like, day one. So I don't see...
And breast milk doesn't pool in the mouth.
Right, it does not.
That just doesn't happen. That's not how it is. If you take... There's a million things like this on Google and on YouTube. They have, like, a slice video of, like, the inside of a baby's mouth. You will see the baby's tongue underneath the breast and the top of their mouth pulling that nipple almost to the back of their throat.
Right.
The breast milk is not in their mouth.
It's not. It goes down their throat. They are actively sucking and swallowing, and the milk is not going to come out unless they are doing that. So if they're hanging out there just like, just suckling to fall asleep, they're not going to get all this, pools of milk because they're not
it's not a
trying
hose.
to get it.
They're not hosing, your breast is not hosing milk into their mouth.
The nozzle. Hit the nozzle.
Turn the nozzle off, Mom. I'm choking.
Oh my God.
It's like, and even people that have people with an overactive supply right now are probably like, well, I have a hose.
I know.
But even then, it's still not pooling in their mouth. That's just not how it works.
No, it's not. Or they would spit it out. It's like
they'd be gagging all over the place.
I know.
And that's what they do when they have too much in their mouth.
So part of our job, Abby and I, as your podcast hosts, is to bring all of this into the forefront and make it logical for you. And this is basically what it is.
I hope we did that.
Like, you see these things and you listen. I want everybody out there who listens to be like, oh my God, I just heard the most ridiculous thing. My dentist said A, B, and C. I want you guys to know, like, how logical. You have to really think about this stuff logically. And if your body is making this breast milk for your baby, just like how they say, oh, it's no good after a certain age. They're not getting any benefit after age 1. Okay, where's the research on that? Like, there is no research on that. So logically, that doesn't make any sense. Your body doesn't turn your breast milk into garbage after a year, so it can rot your teeth and not give them any nutrients.
Breastfeeding is not out to kill you.
Right, yes. It is not going to be the thing that is your,
It's not your demise.
Right. It's not your demise. No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're confronted with any kind of information that indicates that you should stop breastfeeding, take pause and look into it. Because it is probably wrong.
Yeah. And if you need some backup on that, let us know. We'll back you. Right. We like to do that.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, so I think we squashed that myth. Right?
I know. That was fun.
Yes.
Dianne has to go take a nap now. She's overwhelmed.
I'm so stressed about it. I have to go take a nap. I did. I was like, I got to go to bed. I was just so pathetic.
Some people have a stiff drink.
Not
Dianne takes a nap.
I take a nap. That's how I get through my life. I take naps.
Well, all you lovely people, please share your experience in the reviews on iTunes, and you can head over to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com in our comments section and have a chat with us there, too. Yeah. And on badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, you can find our sponsor links from our awesome sponsors today and the promo codes that go along with that and all of our other episodes.
Yeah, fantastic. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.